Okay, so we're at Short Read with Kelly and Teresa, and they are leading the demo self-read classes at Short Read this year.
Well, I've had some really good success with the implementation of self-regulation strategies in my classroom. For years, I've been running a differentiated learning program with guided reading and guided math, and it just hadn't really occurred to me to use self-regulation as a social, emotional, differentiated learning piece. So I thought this year I'd just give it a try and see how it went, and I've been very pleased.
How was it different from what you did before? Like any specifics you can give us?
Well, in the past I felt like most of the control was always in my hands, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking to think about relinquishing some of that control and putting it in the hands of the kids. But it worked out great, because as soon as you can have them take control of the situation, they have more power to change it in a positive way. So I think it's been a good experience.
Kelly, you've been at this for a few years as well, both of you. This isn't your first year with self-reg. Just really briefly, how would you describe how you got from where you started to where you are now?
I feel like it's always the way that I've taught. Now we have a name for it, and I've always felt like a lot of our students struggle to, first of all, identify their emotions, and that's really where I started. I noticed a lot of the kids, when I would say to you, how are you feeling today? They would say, I'm happy or I'm mad. And there was really no in between. So that was my starting spot. We talked about all the positive feelings and all the negative feelings. And then it moved on to, okay, so you're feeling mad. What can we do about that? And it was a we at first. What can we do about that? And then we gradually moved on to, okay, so you're mad. What can you do about that? So it was a gradual progression over a couple of years, I would think, even in my thinking, because you are so used to just pulling the kids along. And now I feel like I'm not so much pulling, but sort of in behind, giving them little facilitating questions, but they're doing most of the work themselves now, which is really great.
You both have changed your room around. You've added some things, taken some things out. Can you tell us a little bit of the physical changes you've made?
Yep. For me, I'm a mother of two very active boys, so I know from personal experience, my kids had a hard time sitting in their desks when they were in grade 1 and grade 2, and it was always a constant battle. And I thought, why do they have to sit in their desks? Really? So in my classroom, I know Teresa's classroom is the same. One of the easiest things to do is to give the kids a variety of choice where they want to work. If they want to stand, we have standing tables. We have tables where the kids can do group work and they can kneel. I have yoga mats where they can lie down if they want to. We even have little bikes that go underneath the desks for that kinetic movement. So they're sitting at their desks and pedaling their feet, but they're still working. So just allowing the kids movement as they're working was a huge game changer for me.
You did some other things in your room as well.
The decluttering component, I think that's what most teachers fear the most.
It was hard.
Is what am I going to do with all the stuff that people feel they need it. But if you look around your room, I'm going to use the alphabet chart for instance, because I teach grade 1. Really, there only has to be one source in the room for your alphabet chart. If there's 3 or 4 different places they can be looking, I think for kids who have difficulty focusing and drawing their attention to what they need, if they have 3 or 4 places they're looking, it's not going to be as effective as knowing that every time they need that alphabet chart, they're going to look in that one specific spot. So I think decluttering, although it's stressful for the adults in the school, I think it's hugely beneficial for the kids.
Big question. So where would they start, and really what difference does it make?
For me, it made a huge difference.
Okay.
It really did. And at first it did seem like more work. It does take time to teach the strategies, but if you do all the front loading, in the long run, it's less work because I'm solving less problems. The kids are now telling me exactly what it is that they need. If they need time alone, if they need a break, if they need a snack. As for where I started, one of the very first things I did was change my room. And I was really surprised at what a huge impact that had. And it can be simple things like dimming the lights. so you don't get such an assault on your visual and also on your auditory senses. I bought curtains and hung curtains just to hide some of my clutter, the things that I didn't want to let go of and I still need.
Yeah.
I don't need to see them.
Did you find similar?
Absolutely. And I think it's not even just about the students. It's made me calmer.
Wow.
It's just a better environment to be in.
I know I've talked to you before, and I loved your example of you had a little one that was getting frustrating in class. I think it was in your class, Teresa, and I know the little one. I could see how they would be that way. And we've talked about we don't want to send kids away because it's punitive, but yet how do we get them to a place where they can calm? And as the teacher in the class, you can calm. And you kind of had can you want to tell us about that?
So every classroom, it's our goal to we'll have a calming corner. So a spot in the room where other teachers can send a student if they need to access a calm space outside of their classroom. And it's interesting because I ask these students that I suggest go there, I say, so how do you feel about going there? Do you think that this is a good strategy to help you calm down, or do you feel that you'd rather stay in the classroom? How do you feel? And they think it's a great idea. They say, I think I need to go to the calming corner in Mrs. McKinney's room because I need some quiet time away from the classroom. And it seems to work.
We both did it today. I
Yeah,
brought a
we
student
both
to
did.
Teresa. She brought a student to me. And it's also for me, sometimes I need a timeout. And sometimes I need to regulate, but it doesn't feel negative. It feels more positive because I get a break. The kid gets a break from me. He comes back and everybody starts fresh and it feels calm and we're ready to go again.
And that would be one of the goals, is to have things back to a calm state so we can learn. Self-reg is not a program, it's a process, but how you fit the zones into that process has been really wonderful for me to see. Can you talk a little bit about how you use it in each of your classes?
And I both have the same strategy in our classrooms, that in the mornings the kids have markers with their names on them and they come in and they put their marker on their zone. How are they feeling this morning? And they can move their marker throughout the day. So if they've had something happen at recess and they're coming in frustrated, then they move their marker to yellow. Or even I've had students who find an assignment really hard and it's frustrating them, so they move their marker. And it's a good visual check-in for me that I see that and I know, I have to touch base with that student as soon as I can. And it's also a good reminder for the kids too. They know if they're not in the green zone, if they're in yellow or blue, then they need to choose a strategy so they can get back to green. So they can't just put their name up in yellow and leave it. They need to then follow up with something. I'm in the blue zone, I'm feeling hungry, okay, I should get a snack. Or I'm in the yellow zone, I'm feeling really silly, then maybe I need to take a body break.
Good. What about your class?
Yeah, it's the same in my room. And there was one day when I came in the morning and I put my clip with my name on it in the blue zone, which means tired or just low, a little bit low. And when the kids came in and they saw my clip there, they immediately came to me and they said, we noticed that you're in the blue zone this morning. Is everything okay? What's wrong? And it's just such a nice connection moment. And so of course there's got to be strategy to go with that, which was the logical one for me, because everyone has a different way of having to upregulate from a blue zone. And of course, a dance off is everybody's best system if you're feeling tired and kind of blue, to just pick yourself up. So, you get out the scarves and you put on some music and you play with the scarves, and it always fixes the blue zone moments for me. I ended up back in the green zone.
Or if you're in the yellow zone, we both moved our tags before to yellow, and the kids right away go, ooh.
Are you frustrated?
So are they adding language to the different colors?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So they come up with their own words?
So they come up with their own. Frustrated comes up a lot. Yellow, for yellow, it's silly. I feel silly or wiggly. My body needs to move. In the blue zone, we get, I'm tired. I'm hungry.
Hungry is.
I'm not feeling well. My kids eat all day.
Yeah, okay.
If you need to eat, eat as long as you're working.
Right.
If the snack
Okay.
becomes a distraction,
Yeah.
then that's an issue. But as long as you can show me that you can eat and work at the same time, and that has made a big difference actually in my mornings.
And that was a thing that made me apprehensive about using more self-regulation strategies, was I was worried about giving up this control, and what would people think if they came to my door and they saw the kids were eating out of their desk, having conversations. I thought the appearance would be that I was lacking control over their situation. But in contrast, it's the complete opposite. They get more work done. They can eat and do their work at the same time while standing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And even allowing them the choice, I find, to sit in partners. Because before I was a big advocate of, there's time for partners, and there's time for that you need to sit at your desk and be quiet. And I thought this year, I'm just going to let go of that and see what happens. So my kids work in partners and in groups a lot, and it's noisy. But when I'm walking around and I'm circulating and I'm listening, they are talking about what they're working on, and they're teaching each other. If some of the kids don't understand one's concept, they're talking about it. And the learning is great if they're teaching each other.
And I think the new curriculum, the direction that it's going, is more of an open-ended conversational structure.